Building on concepts presented over the last several weeks and this week, there are 3 generic strategies for creating value in a global context that we need to briefly discuss. The main goal of any international strategy should be to manage the large differences that arise at the borders of markets. Yet executives often fail to exploit market and production discrepancies, focusing instead on the tensions between standardization and localization. The AAA triangle stands for the 3 distinct types of international strategy. Through adaptation, companies seek to boost revenues and market share by maximizing their local relevance. Through aggregation, they attempt to deliver economies of scale by creating regional or sometimes global operations. And through arbitrage, they exploit disparities between national or regional markets, often by locating different parts of the supply chain in different places. For instance, call centers in India, factories in China, and retail shops in Western Europe. Examples illustrate how organizations use and balance these strategies as well as the trade-offs they make as they do so. Because most enterprises should draw from all 3 A's to some extent, the framework can be used to develop a summary scorecard indicating how well the company is globalizing. Given the tensions among the strategy, the strategic choice requires some degree of prioritization, and the framework can help with that as well. While it is possible to make progress on all 3 stages, companies usually must focus on 1 or 2 while trying to build the competitive advantage. Let's dig a little bit deeper into each one. Adaptation focuses on localization, tailoring products or business models to the preference of the local market. Companies with this strategy often develop products customized to a specific country. They may also have a decentralized management philosophy where location managers have a high degree of autonomy. This makes it easy to react quickly to any change in local market trends or other business landscapes. Looking around the market, it is easy to spot many champions of this strategy. For example, Disneyland making Mulan a highlight in its Shanghai theme park, Kit Kat introducing a matcha-flavored chocolate bar in Japan, and Kentucky Fried Chicken selling rice congee for breakfast in China. The important point to remember, adaptation is the most commonly used strategy. It is especially crucial for companies whose products have to cater to local consumers' taste and preferences. However, Gimewatt subdivided the adaptation strategies into 5 categories: variation, focus, externalization, design, innovation, which were discussed in the readings. Continuing on with Gimewatt's framework. Aggregation focuses on standardization, creating or utilizing existing economies of scale across multiple locations. Companies with this strategy tend to leverage already established products or expertise and market them to the new location through active advertising. R&D and management for multiple countries are also often centralized at a regional or global level. An example of a company mastering this strategy is the Japanese automotive giant Toyota, whose production facilities are concentrated in Japan. In 2015, Toyota reported 8.9 million units of cars produced worldwide. Surprisingly, only 4.1 million of those units were produced in Japan. The rest were produced in plants across the globe. The huge scale of production in Japan allows Toyota to enjoy lower cost, higher efficiency, and quality control. At the same time, the concentration of facilities across the world makes implementation easier as Toyota continues pushing out series of cost-saving initiatives. Arbitrage focuses on exploiting differences between locations for the benefit of the whole organization. Production cost is the most typical example, i.e., having factories and locations with lower raw material and labor cost. This strategy typically benefits labor-intensive or vertically integrated companies. One of the most prominent examples is perhaps Apple, outsourcing manufacturing and assembly process to China, mainly to Foxconn. In 2013, it was estimated that if Apple were to bring manufacturing back to the U.S., it would incur an additional $4.2 million in cost. However, Apple is reconsidering its production strategy in China, due in part to the Trump tariff wars. The cost of production of various Apple products is increasing in China for a variety of reasons. Apple now is looking to find ways to move production out of China to a more cost-effective location to manufacture more of its products that have been produced in China. It is tempting to adopt all three approaches to enjoy the full benefit. However, it is rarely achieved in reality. The inherent conflicting nature of the three strategies and the amount of resources required make it difficult to achieve a balance. Companies who successfully adopt a combination of all three often spend years in trial and error. Among others, P&G is a great example. It started its global expansion with an adaptive arbitrage strategy. They focused extensively on locational R&D in creating autonomous mini P&G branches in each location. Meanwhile, they outsourced a certain part of the production process to cheaper locations. Years later, when this localization strategy produced too much redundancy across regions, P&G added an element of aggregation and created a matrix organization structure to focus on creating synergy across regional business units and product lines. Creating a global strategy in order to increase a company's value requires a tremendous amount of effort, internally and externally. In Chapter 4, we will discuss how developing and executing a global strategy will require a change in the company's business model.